I believe we have never been in a better cultural position than we are now in the culture war. While politics may be another story and there is uncertainty ahead of us, as Andrew Breitbart said, politics is downstream from culture. And my friends, oh boy, are we winning on the cultural front in many ways. Now, the other night, Donald Trump came out and begged. He said, please, no more boycott of Bud Light. Shouldn't we focus on worse companies that do more damage? Many people said, Trump, with all due respect, no. Unless Bud Light formally apologizes, we will not drink their beer. Of course, the Trump family, I believe they know many individuals who work at Bud Light or Anheuser-Busch, or at least see the benefit in Anheuser-Busch's donations to causes they do like. It's not enough. And the fact that many people are actually saying, sorry, Donald, no. Bud Light must apologize is a strong showing. But there's so much more to get your hopes up in a good way. We saw Shane Gillis, recently sponsored by Bud Light. And that's Bud Light desperately trying to turn things around. But yo, get this. Shane Gillis, who was fired by Saturday Night Live in 2019 for making offensive jokes in his past, will be hosting SNL this weekend. Boy, are they desperate. No, they must beg. SNL. Wow. I think we want apologies, but I'm really interested to see what SNL is going to say or what Shane Gillis is going to say on SNL, considering that they fired him and now they beg for him to come back. Please, we're losing money. You know what, my friends? When you screamed that you were on the right side of history, you were wrong. In fact, we were the whole time the silent majority, and we knew it. And now more and more people are standing up, waking up, and we are saying enough. But more must be done. And so we have this. Elon Musk bankrolling lawsuit of fired Mandalorian star Gina Carano against Disney and his nemesis, CEO Bob Iger. Now, some have suggested one of the main reasons Elon's doing this is because Bob Iger pulled advertisements off of X. Disney basically said, get woke or else. Elon Musk said, go F yourself. But now, Elon has announced that not only will he fund Gina Carano's suit, but anyone else who's been discriminated against by ABC, Disney, their subsidiaries, etc. More must be done. Elon, I know it's not easy, so I tremendously respect this move. But now I ask, where can we see similar action taken against Mark Cuban? Those who would support illegal, racist, and sexist policies in the workplace must be held accountable. And if Mark Cuban wants to publicly declare that he does illegally use race and gender in his hiring criteria, then he must be held to account. So I wonder, could similar action be taken against Mark Cuban? Is there anyone willing to actually do that? Well, let's start here, and I'll bring you through the news of where we are so far. And it is fantastic. I hope this is a major source of optimism for all of you. Fortune, apparently Fortune does not report. But let's see if we can. Fortune doesn't want me to read it. There we go. Elon Musk's anger at Disney boss Bob Iger for driving his social media company closer to bankruptcy may have found a new outlet, one that uses former Disney stars as its vessel. Of course, I want to make sure I stress for all of you, I intentionally do choose adversarial news outlets when reporting on these stories. On Tuesday, the billionaire entrepreneur who took on $13 billion in debt to buy financially troubled Twitter. You see how they're playing this game. I want you to hear this. Confirmed he would pay Gina Carano's legal fees as the actress sought damages from Lucasfilm parent company for wrongful dismissal. Understand, they added a bunch of these caveats for no reason to poison the well, attack Elon Musk's character. That is not news reporting. It shows you their desperation. I would like to express my deepest gratitude and thank you to Elon Musk and X for giving me an opportunity to bring my case to light. Musk, who invited others to participate in the lawsuit, grew angry at Iger when Disney pulled its ads from the platform over concerns X had become a haven for hate speech. Of course, that is not why Elon Musk is getting behind this. Elon Musk said he would fund anyone who was fired over their speech on X, a brilliant business strategy. Now, of course, it is true, and I think it's worth bringing up that Elon Musk has feuded with Bob Iger. But I don't think that's the core issue here, but it's probably a motivating factor. Elon Musk says, please let us know if you would like to join the lawsuit against Disney. Well, I can tell you this. Elon, I believe I am well beyond the statute of limitations or whatever it may be. I don't know. I can't tell you that when I worked for ABC News joint venture Fusion, they absolutely discriminated against me over the perception that I was too white. And so I can at least say, yes, it happens. It's a fact. And Mark Cuban, yes, it happens. And it happened to me. And I'm not even considered a white person according to the census. I am an other mixed race. But of course, to the left, if I don't bend my knee to their agenda, well, then certainly I'm not allowed to participate, despite the fact of meeting their racial diversity quotas. Oh, I'm sorry, Asian never counted. Musk bought Twitter in blah, blah, blah. I expect this to be one of many lawsuits against Disney. Carano said on Tuesday she had reached out to Musk after his offer to pay the legal fees for anyone contesting their wrongful dismissal. Oh, boy. Well, here we are right now. On top of that, Elon Musk has leaked internal inclusion standards from Disney. He tweeted, if you were discriminated against by Disney or its subsidiaries, ABC, ESPN, Marvel, etc., just reply to this post to receive legal support. In another post, which he was quoting, he says, an anonymous source just sent me this from Disney. It is mandatory institutionalized racism and sexism. So here's what Disney has. And I'm going to tell you right now, this game they play, where they pretend they're not racist and they don't take race into consideration. Take a look at this. They are trying to break the law, and they're, look, let me put it this way. I don't know how many of you ever been to a rave or a party or a kegger in a city. When I was a youngster, some 20 years ago, maybe, I don't think I was drinking when I was 17, but maybe from 18 or 19, you'd go to a kegger and they would not sell you beer. They'd sell you a cup. They'd say, would you like to buy a cup? How much is a cup? It's $5. Okay, and what can I do with that cup? Whatever you want. By the way, there's a keg over there, and the only cups in the house are these. Okay, this idea that these stupid people had, I find it laughable. They'd be like, I'm not selling beer, I'm selling a cup, therefore I cannot get in trouble. Yes, you can. It's called solicitation. The government is not made up of morons. Okay, well, hold on. I'm sorry, it is. But a judge, a lawyer, a prosecutor aren't that stupid. So they're like, dagnabbit, they got us. The kids are all drinking underage, but they never actually bought the booze. The booze was free the whole time. No one falls for that. But again, I must clarify, you're right. Yeah, the government is made up of morons. That was me misspeaking. But prosecutors aren't going to let you get away with it. Okay? So Disney here is requiring inclusion standards from underrepresented groups, but include a disclaimer saying anyone involved in hiring decisions is prohibited from asking candidates and talent about their actual or perceived race, religion, color, sexual orientation, gender identity, military or veteran status, age, disability, or any other legally protected categories, which creates a difficult path for them to engage in their racist policies. But it's funny because we know what they mean, what they mean by underrepresented groups. Let me just stress, the only way you get away with this, Disney, is if you have a judge who's politically aligned with you. Because ain't no judge who actually is going to rule the law is stupid enough not to recognize what you're doing. Yes, come in, candidates. I'm not going to ask you about race or gender identity or anything like that. And then they're going to say things like, how do you feel about RuPaul's Drag Race? Okay, good. I can look at you and determine your skin color. And so, of course, they are engaging in racist hiring practices. By all means, Disney, try and pretend that this disclaimer makes sense. Like a judge is going to go, well, they have a disclaimer saying you can't do all of those things. Yeah, right. Any judge worth his weight is going to say, dude, I know exactly what you're trying to do when telling people to do this. Your stupid, silly little disclaimer doesn't mean nothing. So there you go. But the question now that I have is, what do we do with Mark Cuban? Mark Cuban, of course, has doubled down, overtly defended diversity initiatives, actually stating they do engage in this practice. From SCNR.com, you are dead wrong. Federal official tells Mark Cuban it's illegal to consider sex and race when hiring. Mark Cuban did double down, saying, no, this commissioner is incorrect. What Mark Cuban is trying to claim is that you are legally allowed to have racial quotas in your company so long as when you're hiring, you don't use any of these criteria in the hiring process. It is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Look, man, look. I don't think Mark Cuban is a dumb guy. I don't think you get to being a billionaire by being stupid. But certainly this guy's got emotional restrictions barring him from actually understanding what's going on. I also think he's racist. I think he's sexist. He's also stated publicly that there's a video going around. I don't know if it's true or whatever, but it's a video of him saying he's a bigot and he knows it. And this explains everything. Here's a guy who thinks we can set a quota for race at our company and it doesn't break the law. I got news for you, dude. That quite literally means your company has to incorporate race in the hiring process. I mean, he said he did. He quite literally said, yes, race and gender can be part of the equation. We got Elon Musk filing a suit against, or I should say funding the suit against Disney. How do we get bankroll to sue Mark Cuban? Here's what we need. We are winning resoundingly across the board. Now is the time to storm that battlefield. Charge, we must yell. There's got to be people who had tried getting a job at a Cuban company or who were up for a promotion and didn't get it, and they're white or they're straight. Imagine being a white gay guy. Yep, you're cis heteronormative. Just because you're gay doesn't change the fact that you are cisgender and you are abiding by the normative structures. No, I think they're not heteronormative, but they still say like you're a cis white man. So heteronormative, I suppose, means straight. But they say, no, I'm sorry. If you're gay, you're a cis white male. Even if you're gay, doesn't matter. You're still the oppressor. Whatever. I'm willing to bet there are tens of thousands of instances where Mark Cuban could be sued, and perhaps in a major class action. I'm not a fan of class action lawsuits. I think they're a trap. Lets them off the hook. You did this bad thing to 10,000 plus people, and therefore we're going to bundle it all up, and then everyone gets $10. No, not interested. They may force the suits into single lawsuits, but if each individual who was discriminated against files on their own individual circumstances, I don't think they can force them into a class action. They can try. But if they're different companies, I want to see Mark Cuban sued into oblivion for being a racist and a sexist and a man who brazenly, publicly declares he violates the law, the Civil Rights Act, stated by this EEOC commissioner. Can't do it. Now, it's not just Mark Cuban's companies. We have this tweet. Someone responded to Elon Musk saying, meanwhile, Amazon Studios seeks one character from each of the following categories for speaking roles of any size: non-white, LGBTQ, person with disability. The minimum aspirational goals for casting across speaking roles are 30% white men, 30% white women, and non-binary people. 20% men from underrepresented races and ethnicities. Okay, right away. Yo, it's illegal. Now, that being said, we are but a world of interpretations. And depending on which judge you get, they will allow this. Here's an interesting one for you. Do you believe that public accommodations should have the right to discriminate on the basis of sex? There's an interesting question there, because males and females are different. If the answer is they cannot, the question then becomes, how do you have male and female sporting divisions? Because each would require the discrimination of the other. Women's sports saying no males, that's discriminating against males from joining the team. The argument put forward by many courts to uphold the right of women's sporting leagues is that so long as the same opportunity is offered to all, it is not discrimination. Therein lies the interesting challenge. They say men have their own sporting team. They're allowed to join. It's not discrimination to say you can't join the women's team because the team apparatus exists. They've just funneled you into different categories. Okay. Now here's an interesting question to follow up. What about races? What if you said we've got the black baseball team and the white baseball team? Hey, the team structure exists. You are allowed to play baseball. They've just separated you based on race. And then people make the argument, well, some races are taller than others. Some are more susceptible to, black people are more susceptible to sickle cell anemia. You see, therein lies the challenge that is brought forward by the Civil Rights Act. The question actually came up. I'm not saying I have a good answer. with bathrooms because gender ideology activists were trying to say that males should be allowed to use female bathrooms. A trans woman should have full access to a female bathroom. And many said, no, men and women are different. And these safe spaces exist for a reason, for specific reasons. The argument brought forward by many leftist activists was that it is a similar argument brought up in segregation, that black and white people are different. And so it's not discrimination to give both of them their own bathroom because everyone gets a bathroom. But of course, the court said, no, you cannot segregate based on race. The gender activists then said, aha, then why can you on sex, despite the fact the law says you can't? And there was a court in California that ruled based on, there was like a computer program, Women in Computing. And a man sued, like an actual dude, saying, why can't I join this? And the court said, because there is a computer program offered to men. Therein lies a strong contradiction under civil rights law and a challenge, one that has to be answered. I don't have a good answer for you, but this is an argument brought forward of where's the line? You know, I've often described it rather simply. The idea of race is much more nebulous than the idea of gender. There's a black man from Haiti is very different than a black man from Zimbabwe. They're different countries. Skin tone is not a good way to try and determine the differences between people on the surface. Certainly, you can say, if you took all people with a darker skin tone, you might find this genetic trait. More melanin is fairly obvious. You can see that. But if there was such an instance where they said, we're going to have a bathroom only for black people, the question is, yeah, but not every person with a darker skin tone is the same. The differences are astounding. Some are tall, some are short. It's a meaningless determination. Just skin color is what you see. So I don't know that it makes sense to actually discriminate on the basis of race in that way. Male and female, however, extend around the world. Quite literally, males and females are distinct. And if the determination is you are quite literally of a male body or a female body, well, that's plainly obvious. Plainly. And there's reasons why we said that's a moral line for us. Ultimately, it's these ideas that led me to the realization that there is just going to be moral questions no matter what. There are many on the left who try to make the argument that there are no moral boundaries, but they're wrong. And by this, I mean, it is simple. We are of the position, logic is not 100% the factor here. We try our best because there are many things we don't know, and ultimately just say, you know, for a variety of reasons, we've decided there will be gender segregation in bathrooms. And for a variety of reasons, we decided there will not be racial segregation. I think there's a logic behind it that makes sense. But ultimately, it's just that's where we're going to draw the line because we agree. And then understand when it comes to what Mark Cuban is doing, it is a question of will a judge interpret the moral question and what we as society will accept. It's simple, my friends. It's time for everyone to understand. Laws are meaningless. Culture is everything. Now, laws matter. We don't want people breaking the law. We want things to be explicitly stated. Don't do this or else. But as we've mentioned, there are blue laws still in the books. There are many, many laws we no longer even consider. The famous meme, which is not true, was that women could not skydive on Sundays in Florida. Apparently that was repealed or it's not true or whatever, but there are books called like wacky laws that still exist. My favorite are ones where it's like, you can't cool a pie on your windowsill on Sundays. Well, when 50 to 100 people lived in a small village and the bears kept coming in because, you know, Nana was cooling her pies on the windowsill, eventually they all got together and says, okay, everybody stop doing this. You're attracting wildlife into the town. There was barely any people, so they all agreed. Makes sense. Now in a city of 1 million people, it's like, dude, your windowsill's on the 50th floor. Nobody cares. Cool your pie. Just don't drop it out the window. So despite the fact the law is on the books, nobody enforces it. Because the laws don't matter all that much, do they? My point comes to this. We should not tolerate what Mark Cuban is doing. It is good what Elon Musk is doing. So we need the courts to say to Mark Cuban, we will not tolerate what you are doing. This is racist. It is sexist. Of course, Mark Cuban is trying to shift the cultural norms in this country. He is trying to explicitly push ideas that we have rejected a long time ago. And therefore, we must push back and we must win to tell them no outright. We do not accept this. We will not accept this. And we will push back and we will win. Mark Cuban can say and do whatever he wants, but the fact is he's racist. He is an abject racist. That's it. The cure for that is to just stop participating in it. Instead, Mark Cuban says, no. We're going to double down. Now, I will briefly mention, as for the Amazon inclusion policies, they're trying to weasel this stuff in. And I say we say no to them as well. They do, and this is fair, say story comes first. You cannot cast characters that are wrong. But my favorite part of this is authentic portrayals. I despise these people. They're saying that if there's a gay character, it's got to be a gay actor. Okay, if that's the case, why not veteran status? If you want a character who's a veteran, got to be an actual veteran. If you want a Republican, it's got to be an actual Republican. Because they're lying. They don't actually care about this stuff. They say Latinx. Yo, Latinos don't say that word. They despise it. Affluent white female liberals, I tell you what. Pay equity. Cast members will be paid commensurate with their work experience, the scope of their role, and equitable to the compensation of their peers. This was always my favorite lie. Equitable pay policies was when they go, men and women get paid differently. Therefore, we are not going to allow negotiating. That was the game. No matter what you come in, this is the rate, $100,000 a year. That's it. Nothing more. Why? Women don't negotiate. They say, we'll give you the job. We'll give you 90. Women go, thank you. Men go, I want more than that. And they say, how much more? I want 120. We're not going to give you that. We'll give you 100. Okay, fine. 100 it is. And this resulted in a large portion of the pay gap. So these companies decided, I got it. We can stop the negotiating process outright by claiming it's for social justice. Spare me. Amazon, you're next. One by one, we must take legal action against these companies. Amazon should absolutely face the brunt of this. This is outright discrimination. Outright. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.